All right, so this is Craig, the lifestyle coach, and we are going over chapter 21 in Dr. A's Habits of Health. It's actually, the chapter is called Creating Well-Being in Your Life, and the subtitle there is Taking Stress Out of Life. And, Dr. A in the sidebar here says that despite our material wealth, our generation uh, ranks the quality of our lives lower than our parents for the first time in human history. And I think that's pretty profound. Dr. A has quite a few things that he talks about in this particular chapter, and I call this, the well-being chapter. And it really, when I went through this the first time, it really had me stop and take a look at, is what I'm doing, because we all get over time this accumulation of what we're doing and where things go, and we end up sort of sometimes off track and we don't know it. And so when I was going through this chapter myself, it seemed like you stopped and you analyzed. You took a good survey of where things are, and you almost fast forward 5 years. If nothing changes, will I be okay with it? And the answer was no. And so I needed to make some changes. And this chapter really helped me with that. But um, as we get into our chapter review today, I've got a guest here with us. His name is JC Valdez, and so um, I want to bring him on. He's going to be he actually has his own personal testimony when it comes to this particular topic. And so, welcome, JC. Actually, I'd love to hear a little bit of your professional background as far as what you do. I know you're a health coach. I know you do some personal training. And then, so start off with that, and then we'll get into why you chose this chapter and what spoke to you. Welcome.
Hey, welcome. Thank you. Thank you. This is super awesome. Yeah, JC, my background actually is physical therapy. I practiced for almost 12 years. And then I decided to take the leap and go as a solo entrepreneur. And we opened a studio, a boutique private training studio, primarily doing therapeutic training. And we had that for about 8 or 9 years. And now I primarily just work uh, with folks that are really in need of the therapeutic and the training concept, mostly women, and I love it. Um, so the reason I want to talk to you guys about this chapter, and we call it sometimes the chapter of fulfillment, is because I can totally relate with it. Um, so just to give you guys a little bit of background, coming from a being an employee, paycheck to paycheck, and just clocking in, clocking out, and then having that moment in your life that you're like, I want to do something bigger, better, you know, uh, and not necessarily faster, right? But you want it bigger and better, and then you find your why, you find your it, and that was the time that we decided to start our own boutique training studio. Uh, and the problem, and here's the catch, that we went bigger, better, but we didn't realize how fast we were going. So when you go that fast, you really, at least personally, what I did, I lost sight of what was important to me, why we started the business. So we were getting tons of clients, tons of money, growing fast. We went from like 500 square feet to 2,000 square feet, you know, 6 days a week instead of 3 times a week part time. So it was, fast, fast, fast. And then there was a time um, about almost 3 years ago that we came to a halt. And it's kind of like, whoa, wait a minute. Uh, when we peel everything, the layers of the onions, you know, are we still doing what we really signed up for? You know, um, we wanted to create this life and particularly this legacy for the kids and do what we love, that we're passionate about. And somehow all of a sudden we're making all this money and servicing all these people, you know, and then it was phenomenal because having that moment again, like you were saying, every 5 years kind of thing, but having that moment again and stop and it's like, wait a minute, what is my purpose? What is my why? why did I start it? Why am I doing this?
Hmm.
Uh, and so this chapter that we're going over today, the chapter of fulfillment, is all about that, knowing the difference between being successful and feel fulfilled. And when you know those two spectrums, you really get a reality check, like most of us call it. And the
Hmm.
problem is that today we're on this fast track. Oh yeah, Craig is bringing up that little perfect chart that can help us kind of.
Yeah. Well, in this particular thing, it says if you could live your life over, and Dr. A talks about a couple things. In the end, what really matters. That's what Richard Leader, the author of The Power of Purpose, wanted to know. He spent over 20 years interviewing people in the final years of their lives, asking them, if you could live your life over again, what would you change? Three universal truths emerge. They would have paid more attention to the big picture. They spent so much time being busy that life seemed to pass them by. They would have taken more risks. They wished they'd found work that was more meaningful to them and the courage to be better friends, parents, sons, and daughters. And they would have left a legacy. They wish they would have made more of a difference. Waiting till the sunset years of life to make these discoveries is just about the most tragic realization I can imagine. That's what Doctor's saying. Because really, what you think about is when time is the one thing we don't have more of. And so every day we're a day older, which means we have a day less on planet Earth. And so learning these kinds of lessons when you have most of your life behind you is kind of a bitter pill to swallow. But I changed it over here to this chart I know you wanted to talk about, and on the fulfillment chart essentially. So what do you have to say about this piece?
Well, and now you brought the legacy, and that brings me to a story. And in physical therapy, as you guys probably know, a lot of you guys, I would say like 80% of the people go through physical therapy at some point. We always use that pain scale on a 1 to 10 pain scale. Where's your pain today and why not? You know, and the way that I was successful at practicing, yes, I use that pain scale to a point, but I always ask my patients, why do you want to get better? Why do you want to heal your shoulder? Why is that ankle so important to you? And to this day, when people meet with me to set up their goals for their workout plan, I'm like, what is the end? What do you want to accomplish in 3 weeks? What do you want to accomplish in 3 months? And they say, oh, I want to lose 10 pounds. I'm like, no, no, no. That's what you want to share with people. What is that you want to do? And then the reality comes. I want to be able to kayak. I want to be able to go for a hike. I'm like, okay, now we're getting somewhere. Now we're
Hmm.
digging in deeper. Okay. So it goes back to the legacy in the fact that the way I place it to other colleagues of mine and groups, and it's very, very vivid imagination, but I always tell people, envision yourself looking at yourself in a casket and people are coming to your viewing. What do you want people to say when they see you there? Do you want to say, hey, that was a great Maserati you were driving for 2 years? Or, oh my God, he was an amazing dad or phenomenal fellow that, he helped me when my sister was in trouble, whatnot. So when you look at it that way, that vividly, and then work your way backwards, that makes a difference. And that's how you're in line, in check with your purpose. So do you want to, nobody remembers what your first house was like or what your first car was. It's like, oh yeah, didn't you used to have a Honda? Nobody really knows. It's like, yeah, now you have a Maserati. But somebody will remember if you said, hey, you were the guy that stopped on the middle of the road and helped me change the tire. I'm like, oh yeah, that was him. So that's kind of how you want to look at fulfillment.
Hmm.
So another basic way to think about it is when you're successful, you're thinking about external things, big house, big cars, you know, uh, amazing, extravagant trips. Fulfillment is more internal. You feel accomplished. You feel satisfied. So those are like two different ball games. Now, can you
Hmm.
have them both? Sure, you can because I did. So when we're looking at this chart that we're looking at, you know, we can either feel fulfilled or feel depressed, meaning either you're super happy and joyful and jiving, like I always tell people, or you might feel depressed. So either you can go north or you can be south, right? Or you can
Hmm.
be successful, where you can have money in the bank sitting pretty. Now a lot of the street language people use is freedom. You feel free because you can pay your mortgage, you can pay your car, and still buy yourself and everybody at Starbucks a cup of coffee. Or you can feel like a failure. So those are more of the external, you know, money related concept. Now, the key when we're looking at this, and me personally, I'm going through the full circle. I went from thriving, where I was fulfilled, successful, and jamming, and then I was worn out, where I was successful. I had a, you know, we were going better, bigger, and faster, but I kind of almost missed almost a full year and a half of my kids growing. So that connectivity, whenever I was having to spend time with them, I was disconnected. So I was depressed because I was like, come on, let's hang out. And they were like, nah, you go do your thing, you know. But now I'm coming out of this burnout square into the content square, where like I'm happier, I'm feeling fulfilled, you know, uh, I'm doing like so much awesomeness because part of one of the keys to happiness is kind of raise your standards, right? Um, so by raising my standards back to where I want them to be, you know, you get out of that depression mode and you go above the bar of failure into fulfillment. So one thing that I always tell my colleagues, I'm like, one thing you never want to be is be on the top of your game, at the bottom of the game, and then be back on top of the game. Because everybody knows you when you're on the top, but nobody knows what you went through to get back from the bottom to the top.
Hmm.
So with that said, fulfillment, success, depressed, failure, as long as you keep moving forward instead of feeling stuck, that's the key. That's what's going to get you to the next level.
Hmm.
So it's like a bicycle. If you want to ride a bike, you got to keep the wheels moving, you
Hmm.
know, and all you got to worry is about, am I going on the right direction? Am I cycling in the right pathway? You know,
Hmm.
because a lot of people are busy. They're all what Tim Ferriss called it on their digital leech. Either they're on their computer, on their smartphone, or something, and they just go, 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 go. But they have no idea if they're even going in the right direction.
Right. Yeah,
And
I know
some of
for me, back in the
yeah,
day when I was working different jobs and things, you were making good money, but you were working a lot for it. And at the end, I mean, I was selling computers, and selling computers was, I was successful, sure. Um, I liked what I did, but the fulfillment of it, I mean, I was selling people computers, and now as a health coach or a lifestyle coach, it's been it's more about the person using the computer that I'm working at now, so computers make our lives, more efficient and productive and things like that, but it's the person behind that computer now that I get to interface with, and I get to talk about these kinds of things, and work with people like you, quite frankly, being able to grow together in community. And I find that has been, way more fulfilling than trying
yeah,
to sell a computer or design a network or whatever, from the past.
and that is a very for real thing because um, you know, we can all do things. We can do a trade or skill, anything. We can make money, especially in today's day and age with technology. So it's like Gary Vee said, there's money to be made doing anything, right? The question
Hmm.
is, are you doing something that completes you, that fulfills you? So if we take periodically, regularly, time to recheck yourself before you wreck yourself, just like the rap lyrics says, right? Don't wreck yourself before you. But if you take it regularly and checking your compass, am I on track in the right direction to what I want to be towards my legacy? What is my
Hmm.
legacy? I mean, a lot of my clients that are 50 and older, that's the question. I'm like, what is your legacy? What do you want to leave for your kids and your grandkids? Yeah, they might have a will, they might have a couple of, couple of stock bonds somewhere there, but what is the legacy? And then you'd be amazed how many people have no idea what they want for legacy.
Hmm.
So if you know your why, you can really pinpoint your why. Carve 10 minutes, 20 minutes to realign, pinpoint your why.
Hmm.
And
Well,
how health coaches can help you.
yeah, well, that's what I was going to say, JC. That's the one of the amazing things. I mean, when we think about how we'd use a health coach or a lifestyle coach, most people, they're so out of touch with the kind of lifestyle they want. We're interacting and we're reacting and responding, and oh, this will make me feel good. Okay, let's have some of that. This will make me feel good. Oh, this will feel a need. Let's do this. Let's do that. And they, when I start working with people, I know there's problems with you too, probably, is they don't know how to use us. They're like, I mean, if I said I was a plumber, they'd know how to use me. But a lifestyle coach, they don't even know. And so as I'm working with these people, I have to teach them how to interface with me so that then we can actually stop and take little surveys. We stop and we survey the ground. We wanted to go this direction. Are we going that direction? You were
Yeah.
here and you wanted to be over there. Let's stop and do a survey. Where are we? Are we getting closer? Yes, no? And then we slowly, incrementally move. Sometimes it's fast, sometimes it's slow, but it's deliberate in a specific direction, um, so that you end up not missing it because you get stuck in the Groundhog Day mentality where you
Yeah.
just get up and kind of do the same thing over and over again.
Well, and that's a good thing that you brought it up, because on 2 points is to do it regularly. So don't lose
Hmm.
focus on it. So this whole New Year resolution is something I never bought into, not even as a therapist or as a trainer, never bought into the New Year resolution. We always call it the revolution, revolutionize, power to the
Hmm.
people.
Yeah.
But on the same topic is you can change the course. Even if you survey where you're going, as long as you're like, right now, I don't want to deal with my parents. I want to deal with my kids. And that's okay. As long as you're aware internally of it, the course can change. That's okay. And as health coaches, it's our job, you know, just to be your compass. And that's what we always kind of try to relate with you. Uh, hey, how you doing? What are you working on?
Yeah.
We can help
There's
you. We
a
can help with the how.
Yeah. Well, and so in Dr. A's book here, what is this on page number, what
To
is it?
see.
260, 270, he talks about creating well-being your first steps. It says first mark where you believe you are on the well-being chart. And so you have the x-axis and the y-axis, fulfillment and depression, success and failure. And so on a scale of 1 to 10, where are you on each of those? And then now spend time in a quiet place to think about what really matters to you in terms of fulfillment and success, and compare that to where you are right now. And if you're not sure where you want to go, bottom line, this process I find is very difficult for people because we don't have the mental muscles, if you will, the mental fitness to be able to do these kinds of mental exercises. It's like physical exercise is one thing, but mental exercise is a different thing. And so taking some time and going through that with a coach, and then figuring out where you want to be. And I find, by the way, JC, is that is if it's a dream, or it should kind of scare you and excite you. There's this tension that it's
Yeah.
kind of scary, but it's not scary without excitement, and it's not excitement without scary, a little bit of scariness. It's kind of this tension between those two, and I think that's when you find, I hear people say that I'm kind of scared, but I'm real excited. And I'm like, we nailed it, we got it. This is exactly where you want to be.
And it's funny because I was talking with Alex. and we're going over key ingredients of happiness and whatnot. And you know, not to steal it from Nike, but it's the just do it. You know, because everybody, and that's where it takes courage. You know, everybody as a human reaction, so to speak, is it's okay to be freaked out not knowing what's on the other side, right? But it's worst knowing what could have been on the other side,
Mm,
right?
that's good.
So might as well jump, you know.
Hmm.
So, and that's when you got to put the cape of courage, right? And just fly, baby. Just
Hmm.
jump and fly.
That's great. You know,
But
well, thank you. You
yeah,
have, just as we're closing up here, thank you for your preparation on this. Do you have any closing kind of comments as far as maybe the next step or where we go from here?
I think that the next step that I encourage everybody to do is just like the schedule, maybe even do it so every time you schedule your oil change, every 3,000 miles, schedule your reassessment of your fulfillment chart.
Mm,
You got to wait for them to change the oil. That's a 20-minute checkup at Jiffy Lube if you take it to Jiffy Lube. That's your time to sit down and do your fulfillment chart,
that's great. That's so practical.
baby. You know, because
That's
if you
good.
take care of your car, you got to take care of your mind, right?
Hmm.
So do it. Put it on your Google Calendar. Make it happen, and bring it to your coach. And if you're unclear, that's when we can help you with clarity as a
Hmm.
health coach,
Yeah.
right? Just got to dump it out of the brain. That's
Yeah.
why don't I encourage everybody to do that?
That's perfect. Thank you for your prep today. Thank you for your own personal story and bringing us chapter 21 of Dr. A's Habits of Health. And looking forward to next time. Thanks again. Take care, buddy.
It's been a
See you.
blast.
Bye-bye.